Good morning, everyone. Today, we will analyze and discuss questions from past year exam paper. We will go through each questions in detail to understand the concepts and ensure we are well prepared for any similar questions that might appear in the future exams. Without further ado, let's get started. Which of the cell organelle will be clearly visible under the high power multiply 400s of the light microscope? Under a high power of multiply 400 on a light microscope, the visibility of cell organelle is generally as follows. Based on this, the correct answer would be lysosome is clearly visible, endoplasmic reticulum is clearly visible, mitochondria not clearly visible, and chloroplast not clearly visible. The drawing from an electron micrograph shows a ciliated epithelial cells magnified multiply 1500, which is found in the trachea. Line X to Y show the widest dimension of the cells. What is the number of these cells that could be found along a 1 centimeter length of a trachea? To determine the number of ciliated epithelial cells that could be found along a 1 centimeter length of the trachea, you need to know the widest dimension of the cells from the electron micrograph. Assuming the widest dimension of the ciliated epithelial cells, line X to Y is about 20 micrometers. A typical width for such a cell, you can calculate the number of cells per centimeter. 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10,000 micrometers. Width of one cell is 20 micrometers, and the length of trachea segment is about 10,000 micrometers. To find the number of cells along 1 centimeter, the number of cells, which is 10,000 micrometers, divided by 20,000 micrometers, you get the value of 500 centimeter. What are correct location of ribosome in a typical eukaryotic cell? The correct location of ribosomes in a typical eukaryotic cells are free in the cytoplasm and attached to the outside of the endoplasmic reticulum, which is forming rough ER. And statement 3 are not attached to the inside of the endoplasmic reticulum. Viscine tubing is an artificial partially permeable membrane used to demonstrate diffusion. Glucose molecule can pass through the pores in a membrane which are approximately 2.4 nanometer in diameter. Which of the following could pass through the pores? None of the substances can pass through the 2.4 nanometer pores. Reason being, bacteria are much larger than 2.4 nanometer. Hemoglobin about 5.5 nanometer, which also cannot pass through. Ribosome size is about 20 to 30 nanometer, which is too big. Glycogen is also larger than 2.4 nanometer. The answer is none of the above. What are found in both chloroplasts and typical prokaryote cells? The answer is 70S ribosomes and circular DNA. Two solution 1 and 2 are containing starch and sucrose, and the other containing glucose and protein were tested with a variety of reagents to confirm their identity. The table shows the conclusions from the result recorded for the various tests. Which row identify the two solutions? The answer is C. X and Y are two monomers found in biological polymer. Which monomer is found in each of cellulose, glycogen, amylopectin, and amylose? The answer is B. Chitin is a polysaccharide consisting a long straight chain of the monosaccharide acetylglucosamine linked by 1,4 glycosidic bond. Acetylglycosamine is similar in structure to glucose, but contain nitrogen, allowing hydrogen bond to form between adjacent chains of chitin when they lie parallel to each other. Which polysaccharide is most similar in structure to chitin? The polysaccharide most similar in structure to chitin is cellulose. Both chitin and cellulose consist of long chains of monosaccharide linked by beta 1 to 4 glycosidic bond, allowing for hydrogen bond between adjacent chains which contribute to their structural properties. Which statements about triglyceride is correct? The correct statement about triglyceride is they are more saturated with hydrogen compared with phospholipid. Triglyceride consists of 3 fatty acids and glycerol, and they typically contain more hydrogen compared to phospholipids, which have 1 fatty acid replaced by a phosphogroup. The diagram shows the structures of 2 amino acids, one of which has 2 amine groups and the other has 2 carboxylic groups. A peptide bond is formed between the 2 amino acids. Which group form the peptide bond? This question is a similar question appeared in March 2017. Protein which transport sugar out of cell has been identified. These proteins are called sweet. Each sweet has 7 coiled cylindrical regions which together make up a pore through the cell surface membrane bilayer as shown in the diagram. The answer, what describe each of the 7 coil regions 1 to 7 of a sweet shown in the diagram? The answer is secondary structure held in its shape by bonds such as hydrogen bond. Influenza virus has an enzyme called neuraminidase, which break down glycoprotein in the membrane of the cells that the virus will infect. The glycoprotein binds to the active sites of neuraminidase by induced feed. Which statement about the induced feed hypothesis of enzyme actions are correct? Only statement 3 are correct. Which row about competitive inhibitors of enzyme is correct? The answer is D. Competitive inhibitor bind to the active site, not a different site, and they do not lower the activation energy. The graph shows the effect of increasing the concentration of substrate on the rate of an enzyme catalyzed reaction. What is limiting the rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction at 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the graph? The answer is C. The diagram represents a cell surface membrane of a metabolically active cells and the direction of movement of some molecules through the membrane. Which row show a process by which the molecule may be moving through the membrane at each of the point 1, 2, 3, and 4? The answer is C. Batracotocins is a poison found in frog in the Colombia jungle. The poison is used by the native Indians to produce poison dart. The poison works by increasing the permeability of some cell surface membrane to sodium ion, which move out of the cells. Which statements are correct for cells affected by batracotocin? The statements are correct is 1 and 3. Which process occurs during phase of the mitotic cell cycles in animal cells? The correct option regarding the process that occur during phase of the mitotic cell cycle is in animal cells is A. During prophase, centrolus replicate and chromosome condense, while spindle fibers begin to form but are fully established later in prophase. The protein p53 is produced in a cell in response to DNA damage. This protein stops the cell cycle for a short time just before the DNA is replicated so that the DNA can be repaired. At which phase of a cell cycle will this stop occurs? This is also similar question which appeared in March 2022. To explain about which phase of the cell cycle will this stop occurs, the protein P53 halt the cell cycles in G1 phase to allow for DNA repair before the cell enter the S phase, where DNA replication occurs. Which features of stem cell enable them to replace cells in tissue, such as the skin? The features of stem cells that enable them to replace cells in tissue, such as the skin, is they divide by mitosis to supply some cells that can be differentiated. This ability is to divide and produce differentiated cells is crucial for tissue maintenance and repair. DNA contains the pyrimidine base thymine, which is joined to adenine with 2 hydrogen bonds. The diagram shows the nucleotide sequence of a small sections of the gene which is transcribed. The table shows the amino acid coded for 10 mRNA codon. This is also a similar question which is already appeared in October 2016. To determine the order of amino acid translated from the given nucleotide sequence, CGCC, GCA, CGC, GC, we first need to convert the DNA sequence into mRNA by replacing each thymine T with uracil U and then grouping the sequence into codon 3 nucleotide each. First, transcription to mRNA, DNA sequence CGCC, GCA, CGC, GC. mRNA sequence, same as DNA, but replace T with U if applicable. Step 2, breaking the mRNA sequence into codon CGC, CGC, ACG, and CGC. And third, identifying the amino acid using the provided table. CGC is equal to ARG, CGC is equal to ARG, ACG is equal to THR, and CGC equals to ARG. Putting this together, the order of the amino acid in the polypeptide, you get the answer is D. The statement describes the features of some nucleic acid and what functions are carried out by tRNA. The function that carried out by tRNA is statement 1, carry an amino acid to a ribosome, tRNA transport amino acid, and statement 4, hold amino acid in position for translation, which is tRNA pair with mRNA codons during translation. A student was asked to draw a plant diagram of a plant tissue shown in the photomicrograph and to annotate 2 observable features. What are correct annotation? The answer is A. Water that is present inside a root hair cells may leave the cells and pass to the vascular tissue, through which route must the water travel? The answer is C+. Question number 25 is also a similar question which is already appeared in October 2018. What is the correct definition of the term transpiration? The answer will be loss of water vapor from the aerial parts of a plant to the atmosphere. And it's also correct when the water moves into the spongy mesophyll cells via the simplest pathway and then must go through the cell membrane by osmosis before it can evaporate into the air spaces. Question number 6 is also a similar question appeared in March and May 2022, which changes to the water potential and the volume of liquid in the folium sieve tube element occur when sucrose is moved from a photosynthesizing leaf into the folium sieve tube element. When sucrose is moved from a photosynthetic leaf into the folium sieve tube, the following changes occur. The water potential in the folium sieve tube becomes lower because the addition of sucrose, a solute decreases the water potential, and the volume of solution in the Folin sieve tube increases because water moves into the Folin sieve tube by osmosis due to the lower water potential. Therefore, the correct answer is water potential in the Folin sieve tube become lower and the volume of solution in the Folin sieve tube is increases. Which statement support the theory of active loading of sucrose into companion cell? The answer is A. The diagram is an external view of the mammalian heart and the associated blood vessel. Which statement about the blood vessel associated with a normal, healthy heart is correct? The answer is B. The graph shows changes in the blood pressure during one cardiac cycle. This is also a similar question appeared in May 2022. The answer for this graph is for aortic semilunar valve, it is in the state of opening, and for the atrium, it is in the stage of filling, which does not occur when the red blood cells arrive at the alveolus. Hydrogen ions are released from hemoglobin acid and diffused out of the red blood cells. The graph shows the oxygen dissociation curve for hemoglobin of animals that live at high altitude and animals that live at low altitude. What explains the oxygen dissociation curve at high altitude? This is also a similar question which is appeared in October 2017. The oxygen dissociation curve for hemoglobin in high altitude animals indicate that their hemoglobin has a higher affinity for oxygen. This allows them to achieve a higher saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen at lower partial pressure. Therefore, the correct explanation is hemoglobin has a higher affinity for oxygen. Which statement concerning event that occurs in the heart is correct? The answer is B. What would be seen in an electron micrograph of a bronchus wall? The correct would be cartilage cells, ciliated cells, and exocytotic vesicle. Which part of the human gas exchange system may typically contain macrophage? The answer is D. An oxygen molecule diffuses from the air in an alveolus through cells to hemoglobin in a red blood cells. What is the minimum number of cell surface membrane through which this molecule must pass? The answer is 5. Which short-term effect of smoking are caused by carbon monoxide? It's a formation of carboxyhemoglobin. A person whose immune system is suppressed may become more susceptible to certain diseases. Which disease will this person not become most susceptible to? Sickle cell anemia. Which disease is treated with drugs that have a similar molecular structure to DNA nucleotides? The answer is HIV/AIDS. Rabies is a viral disease which can be spread to human by a bit from an infected animal. One method of treatment is to inject the patient with antibodies specific to the rabies virus. Which statement about this treatment are correct? The answer will be statement 2 and 4. What are the functions of T lymphocyte during an immune response? The answer is to destroy infected body cells and differentiate into memory cells. That's conclude today's session, and I look forward to seeing you at the next session. Please subscribe to the Jom Study Learn YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on your notification so you don't miss any updates. And best of luck in your studies, and wishing you every success. Thank you for your support and cooperation.